Right, back in another of the OMG It's Core Chemistry series, and today we're talking about calculations. So we're going to start with the more simple calculations, the one that come up more frequently, and then there's going to be another video on the ones that are a little bit harder and come up with less frequency, but they can still come up, so you still need to know. So first things, looking at chemical and ionic formula, okay? A chemical formula of a compound shows how many of each type of atom is joined together to make up the compound. So in sodium oxide, there are 2 sodium atoms for every 1 oxygen, so we write it like that, okay? It's come out a little bit weird on the PowerPoint, but it's a little 2, okay? Make sure it's a subscript 2, okay? The number belongs to the element in front, so that 2 belongs to the sodium, okay? So then with FeOH3, okay, everything inside the bracket would be times by 3. So O would be times by 3, H would be times by 3. But that Fe is an element on its own, so it's a 1, okay? When a metal reacts with a non-metal, electrons are transferred from the metal to the non-metal to form ions. This resulted in an ionic compound, okay? And sometimes they'll say, what is the formula of the ionic compound magnesium chloride? So what you have to do is turn to the back where your periodic table is and identify your ions. So magnesium 2+ and Cl-. 2+, so you cross it over, 2, minus, 1-, cross it over, then box them up, you need 1 magnesium and 2 chlorines, okay? So that the kind of question they'll say is, what is the formula of magnesium chloride? Turn to the back, find the charges, and then do the crisscross method. Other things I might ask you to are or calculate the molecular, calculate the formula, okay? So first thing we'll do is identify what elements you've got, identify the elements. So you've got C, how many C's have you got? There's no number, so it's going to be 1, O, 2, okay? So then use the little numbers to help you. If there's not one there, you might find it easier to put a little 1 to help you, okay? And then the next thing you need to do is find the massive number, which is the mass number, okay? Times them together, so you do 1 times 12, 2 times 16, you get answers here, and then you add them together, okay? And that's the MR, or they might say the molecular mass. Okay, so that's how you work out MR or molecular mass. They might then ask you to go on and work out percentage composition, okay? So percentage composition is they want to know how much of a certain element there is in a compound, okay? So to find the percentage of calcium in calcium carbonate, so the first thing you're going to do is you're going to do your table and you're going to work out, so you're going to do element, how many, mass, total, and you're going to work it out. So you've got calcium, carbon, oxygen. I've got 1 calcium, 1 carbon, 3 oxygens. Okay, so then using their mass numbers. So using their mass numbers then, and then you times them, and then we need to add them all up, and we get 100, okay? So that's, you've got to work out the MR first. Then it'll say, work out the percentage of calcium. So find calcium. Calcium is 40, so you do 40 over the total MR and times it by 100. Okay, and that will give you 40%. That's a nice easy one. So make sure you're doing it over the total, not just a random number. So find the element they're asking for and do it over the total MR. And then finally, percentage yield. You have to remember the equation for percentage yield, okay? They most probably will not give it to you, okay? So what we do with percentage yield is to work out when you're meant to get 20, but how much did you actually get, okay? So when we're making product. So it says here, the theoretical yield is 20, so you should make 20, but in the experiment, we only made 15. So how much percentage yields do you do? So you do mass obtained 15 over the expected yield and times it by 100, and you get 75. The reason that we don't always get 100% yield then, there are several reasons. Loss when filtering, loss when evaporating, loss when transferring liquids, not all reactants reacting to make a product. So they're the reasons why you should be getting 20, but maybe you didn't get 20. It's not always 20, that's just the example. So let's have a go at the questions. Okay, so it didn't come out that well. So you have got, let's pick a different colour. You have got 4 sodiums, so 4 times sodium. Then there's a little bit strange going on here because you've got the bracket. So everything inside the bracket gets times by 2. Imagine you had a little 1 by there, so it'd be 1 times by 2. So you've got 2 carbons, and then 3 times by 2. So you've got 6 oxygens, okay? How would you work out the MR? So let's go down here. So we've got element, how many, mass, totals. The elements we've just worked out, we've got sodium, carbon, oxygen. How many? We've got 4, 2, 6. Mass numbers then, 23, 12, 16. Times them together. So times them together, we get that. Then we want to add them all together, and the answer is 212, okay? What is the ionic compound of aluminium chloride? So aluminium is 3+, chloride is Cl-, so you've got 3, so cross it over. You've got 1, cross it over, box them up. The metal always goes first, so it'll be Al, and you don't need a number because there's 1, Cl3. How would I work out the percentage composition of sodium in NaCl? I'd work out the MR. So sodium chlorine 1 times by 23 times by 35.5, and then you want to 23 35.5, add them two together. That gives you 58.5, and then it says work out the amount of sodium, so you do 23 over the total, so 23 over 58.5, and then times it by 100. And that gives you 39.32%. Okay, what is the equation for working out percentage yield? So let's move this all. So the equation for working out percentage yield is actual mass over theoretical mass. Remember, because it's a percentage, times by 100. Why is yield not always 100%? Loss in filtering, loss when evaporating, not all the reactants react. So this is quite a complicated topic. I have whizzed through it just so you've got something to go back through and watch again. So if there's something you're still not sure of, watch the video again, and make sure you're emailing Come and See Us if you're not 100%. Okay?